Undergraduates have always been the heartbeat of my lab. My lab would not run without them. One of the things I always hear from students is, oh, I have a relative or a friend who has had, experience with substance use. I've always been interested in why that is. And so one of the things that we are actually able to do in the lab is show them some of the biology and the behavior underlying substance use. One of our main focuses is looking at different aspects of opioid use disorder and how we can try to come up with novel treatments to try to lessen the severity of withdrawal, because we know that that's a really big indicator of potential relapse vulnerability. One of the other things we look at is adulterants in the opioid supply. So my students over the summer have been looking at some novel pharmacotherapies, which are just medications that might lessen opioid withdrawal. We actually have just now started to work with the Survivors Union of the Bluegrass so that we can get information from people with living experience and infuse it into the design and execution of our studies. So we're really excited about that. And I think that gives undergraduates a really good idea of what people are experiencing and why our lab matters, right? Why these studies are important. Sophia Sadek is one of just the most stellar undergraduates I've ever had the pleasure to work with. And so I originally put her on a project as she received a summer fellowship to evaluate an adulterant in the illicit opioid supply, which is in the state of Kentucky. It's called xylazine. It's a veterinary anesthetic that affects the clinical experience with fentanyl. Her responsibility was to test how xylazine was affecting fentanyl behavior, and then also compare it to another drug that's in the same drug class as xylazine, but it's actually FDA approved to treat opioid withdrawal. It's called lofexidine, and she got a first author paper out of that. I will tell you that undergraduates come to me with these amazing ideas. I feel like sometimes I'm so entrenched in the details and the iterations of my work that it's so refreshing to get these new ideas and perspectives that really open up my eyes to things I might want to incorporate into my studies as well. So I really benefit from them as well.
Our lab is primarily interested in adaptations that insects use to survive extreme environmental conditions. So some of this involves figuring out how insects survive the winter. So that can be really important in determining the geographic distribution of species, as well as their potential responses to climate change. We also study insects with crazy adaptations like Antarctic insects that have been able to colonize a habitat that is too extreme for any other insect to live in. And so we're trying to figure out how that works. We also are interested though in how those adaptations for surviving the environment can influence various pest control strategies. So when the environment changes, that can cause a lot of changes in the inner workings of the insect that can influence how toxic a particular control strategy might be. We try to start with simple tasks to build confidence and then gradually introduce the more technical aspects of the research. The students and the postdocs in my lab do a really good job of mentoring the students and including them in daily activities. The insects have to eat, they have to be taken care of, and so those students play a really important role as well. When we think about our research and the impact, a lot of the public discourse is what is the research going to do for me? What new drug is it going to make? What new treatment is it going to make? Or pest control strategy, wherever that is. But really, the largest part of the research endeavor, I think, for especially the type of research we do, is that it produces the next generation of scientific leaders.